Good morning, student. This is our second part for our civics chapter titled What is Democracy and Why Democracy? In the first part, we have discussed little bit of that how the students were asking the different question to the ma'am Lingdo, and how she was satisfying the student with the help of the country like Pakistan, that where the army rule was there. When the Pervez Musharraf was army chief himself, he made himself the army chief, and how he the democracy was only that they make the people, make the world confused that they are applying the democracy, but still there was a army rule. We have discussed about it with the help of various example. Now that in the second part of your political science first chapter, first of all, these are the definition which should be clear in your mind, that what is democracy, and we have cleared it in the previous lecture. The word democracy comes from the Greek word Demokratia, which includes demos means people and kratia means the rule. It means rule by the people. The meaning of democracy, the literal meaning of democracy is rule by the people. Democracy, the another definition, democracy is government of the people, by the people and for the people. And it has said by the Abraham Lincoln. Definition of democracy. Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. As we give our vote up to the age of 18, we give vote to elect our representative. Features of democracy. That what are the features of democracy? That in democratic rule, rulers elected by the people take all the major decisions. Elections offer a choice and fair opportunity to the people to change the current rulers. As every 5 years, after every 5 years, we can change our representative. If we find they are not capable, then we elect we give our vote to the another person. This choice and opportunity is available to all the people on equal basis. Yes, here we choose our representative. We are free to choose them, as there is no discrimination on the basis of their economical background or their caste, religion. As in democracy, we respect the diversity. The next feature of democracy is the exercise of this choice leads to the government limited by basic rulers of the constitution and citizens' rights. Thus, when these elected representatives exercise their powers, when they come in the power for 5 years, that they also very responsible with the constitution. They are responsible to secure the citizen rights. Now the feature of democracy. Now another features of the democracy is that in a democracy, the final decision or making power must rest with those elected by the people. A democracy must be based on free and fair election, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. In a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. That every single vote is having the equal value. Either they are 18 years old, either they are 95 or 100, etc. Either they are male or female, it doesn't matter. All votes are equal. A democratic government rules within the limits set by our constitutional laws and citizens' rights. That it doesn't mean that the representative whom we have select as a representative to run the country, their power is also limited within the you can say constitutional premises, that within the constitution their powers are limited, that they can use the powers but within the certain limit, and they will always think for the welfare of the citizen. Now why the question arises, that why we need the democracy? That leaders keep changing in democracy. This leads to instability. And democracy is all about political competition and power play. There is no scope for morality. Democracy leads to delay. Elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people. It leads to bad decision. Democracy leads to corruption, for it is based on electoral competition. Ordinary people don't know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. It is all about the arguments against democracy. That when we say that why we need democracy, so we always face these you can say these arguments that in democracy we are having so many challenges, and these are these challenges. Now that when we are saying that democracy, why democracy, then we should understand that an argument erupted in Madame Lingdou's class. She had finished teaching the previous section on explaining the meaning of democracy and asked the student if they thought democracy was the best form of government. Everyone had something to say. That the teacher asked that after clearing the definition of the democracy to the children, that do they agree that democratic government is the best system of government. Now, argument against democracy. This conversation has most of the argument that we routinely hear against the democracy. We shall see some of these arguments. In a democracy, leaders keep changing. This leads to instability. That we know beta, that when we say democratic government, so every 5 years we change our representative. Sometime at present time in central government in India, the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, is having the power. After the completion of one party, it means after the 5 years we are free as a citizen. We can give vote to the another party leader or representative also. So it is that many times the people are having the opinion that in democracy every 5 years the representative are going to change. That's why it also results in instability. In political way, democracy develops the instability in a nation. But I do not agree it. But these are the argument. We are not giving them. These are the result. That these are the argument that people mostly not favor the democratic government because of this one argument or reason. Second, the people think that democracy is not nothing but all about political competition, power play, and it happens sometime that when we say that there are so many political party in India, we can take our own country example: BJP, Congress, and the Basapa, Bahujan Samajwadi Party. There are so many national party, and most of time that these political party not having the issue to sort out the people's demand requirement. It is just become a political competition that before election they do so many campaign rally, and it becomes that advertising that how they can attract the voters to run the government. So most of time it happens that democracy is just only the competition among the political party, or you can say it is just a game of power. There is no scope for morality, that there is no moral values among the political party. It is are the views, argument by the some people or the common people. Now another argument against the democracy, that a very large number of people have to be consulted in a democracy, and it leads to delay. Yes, the democratic government, the system of democracy is just like that. It takes time. Yes, it is sure that if we are having any issue, so because it is a second largest populous country and 7th largest country, and it is world's most diverse nation, so it happens that it takes so much of time, step by step, everything which involves the system. So system takes so much of you can say time to give any result. So it is true that in democracy it takes so much of time in decision making. Now the another argument against democracy results to corruption, for it's based on the electoral competition. Yes, in many times that it is another argument in the against of the democracy, that democracy is just that, as Abraham Lincoln told, it is by the people, for the people, and of the people. That it means our representative elected by the people. They come, they are having their power just because they come out from the common mass. They are doing their duty for the welfare of the people, and they are framing the laws of the people. So, but most of time this democracy result into the only political or electoral competition, that they just want to election and they want to get power, and then they enjoy their own life. So it is all about the corruption is everywhere. It depends on the particular person, that if we are corrupt individually, that wherever whatever job we will do the corruption. It can be at any profession, it can be in any field, it depends on the particular person. Now, but these are the arguments against the democracy. Now the next argument: in a democracy, ordinary people don't know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. Yes, so it depends again, that if we say that in a democracy the common people is not having the awareness, so it depends on us that why we are not aware that up to the age of 18, if the Indian constitution has decided that up to the age of 18 we have the power that we can give our vote, it means up to the age of 18 we should be so much aware that we can think what is good for our country and what is not good for our country, whom we have to give our precious vote or whom we should not elect. So up to the age of 18 one should be so much aware and responsible that he can or she can understood the value of their vote. Now the question arises that can you think of any other argument against democracy? Which of these arguments applies mainly to democracy? Which of these can apply to misuse of any form of government? Which of these do you agree with? So these are the questions that we have studied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 argument against democracy. So according to you, that which you think that they are really the real argument against the democracy, or that thing to can any type of government it can be done, either the monarchy system, either the autocratic rule, either the dictatorship, it can be done in any type of government. Obviously democracy is not a magical solution for all the problem. Definitely it failed to eliminate poverty in our country and in other parts of the world. Democracy as a form of government only ensures that people take their own decisions. However, this does not guarantee that these decisions will be good. Yes, the first utmost important thing that you have to understood, that democracy is not a magical one that within a second we can change the country in a progressive path. It is a continuous effort and it is a way to run the government in a nation where we are ensures that people are secure. You can say their future will be guaranteed, that whatever decision will be taken by the democratic government, they will favor all the citizens and they will be good for every section of the society. Mistakes may be committed by people. Involving so many people in these decisions does results in delay decision making. It also true that democracy leads to frequent changes in leadership. Sometimes this can harm big decisions and affect the government's efficiency. And it is also true that sometimes just because that it is you can say so many times that after every 5 years we change our government, so it can also affect somehow, it affects the policy or the you can say implementation of democracy. But it doesn't mean that the democratic government or democracy is not efficient in its working. There are so many challenges, but still it is the better form of government than the remaining two monarchy system or the autocratic rule or dictatorship. Now these arguments shows that democracy of the kind we see may not be ideal form of government, but that is not a question we encounter in real life. The real question we encounter is different. Is democracy a better option than any other form of government? Yes. That when we study these arguments, then we can conclude that then it is not the ideal form of government. But then what we are having? We are not having the better option than the democracy. The question is that is democracy a better option than any other form of the governments? And we are having only two other forms. One is monarchy system and second is dictatorship, as the Hitler has done. So among these all types of government system, democracy is the best way to run a nation. Now we can continue that Broader meaning of democracy. What is the broader meaning? That in this chapter we have studied the meaning of democracy in restricted and narrative sense. We have understood democracy is a form of government. This way of defining democracy helps us to find a clear meaning or clear set of minimal features that a democracy must have. The most common form of the democracy represents in our times is that of representative democracy. Representative democracy, you have already studied about this in the previous classes. In the democratic country, all people do not rule. A majority is allowed to take decision on behalf of all people. Even the majority does not rule directly or absolutely. The majority of people rule through their elected representative. This becomes necessary because that when we understood the meaning of democracy, that there is a democracy where we choose our representative indirectly. Who is running the nation? People, as we elect them in the form of minister, chief minister or the prime minister. So who he or she represent the whole idea or the whole choice of a country people in the form of particular representative. So it is an indirect democracy. It is all about. Now that question arises that this becomes necessary, that such type of democracy, indirect democracy we are talking about, becomes very necessary. The reason is that in modern democracies a very large number of people are involved, and so it is physically not possible for them to sit together and take a collective decision. Yes, when we compare the developing nation or the developed nation, the democracy system involves so many people, and that it is not possible to talk with every single citizen of the country for taking a decision. So it is a collective decision. When we say that democratic nation, so it is a collective decision which should be taken by the representative of the people. Now that even if they could the citizen do not have the time, the desire or the skill to take part in all decisions. Second thing is that every single citizen, as you and me, how much time we are having to discuss about the political matter, to think about the politically that we should empower the citizen. We are so engaged. The common people is so engaged in to work or to ensure the 2 times bread and butter. So we are not having time to talk about these national international matters. This provides us the clear but minimal understanding of democracy. This clarity helps us to distinguish democracy from non-democracies, but it doesn't permit us to distinguish between a democracy and a good democracy. Now the question arises, democracy and a good democracy. That democracy and the good democracy. It does not permit us to look operation of democracy beyond government. For this, we require to turn a broader meaning of democracy. That now the question arises that what is democracy and what is a good democracy? What is the difference between democracy and the good democracy? And sometimes democracy is used for organization other than the government just through these statements. Now we can that when we say the democracy, then sometimes it is used for the organization and not than the government. Now we are a very democratic family. Whenever the decision has to be taken, we all sit down and arrive at a consensus. My opinion matters as much as my father's. Now I do not like teachers who do not allow students to speak and ask questions in the class. I would like to have teachers with democratic temperament. Another, one leader and his family member decide everything in this party. How can we talk of democracy? So these are the 3 different statements, and every statement gives us the different idea regarding the democracy. Now, these different ways of using the word democracy go back to its fundamental sense of a method of taking decision. In democratic decision, all those who are affected by that decision are consulted and their consent are taken. In making such decision, both who are not powerful have the same say in taking the decision as those who are powerful. This is applicable everywhere, to a government or a family or anywhere or other organization. Thus, democracy is also a principle. Democracy is also a principle that can be applied to any sphere of life. That we can not only apply the democracy in a particular manner like politics, we can also apply the democracy in every sphere of life, whether it is a family matter or whether it is any professional matter. Now, sometimes the word democracy is used not to explain any existing government, but to set up an ideal standard that all democracy must aim to become. True democracy will arrive to this country only when no one goes hungry to bed. This is the very good statement that the true meaning of democracy will be understood only when not a single citizen of a nation goes hungry to bed, that everybody is having 3 times meal properly. In a democracy, every citizen must have equal say in decision making. For this one doesn't need just an equal right to vote. Every citizen required to have equal information, equal education, equal resources and a lot of commitment. This is a wonderful definition for democracy, that when every single citizen of a nation having the equal right of information, basic education, equal resources, it and lot of commitment. That means that the country people are having true democracy. So beta, it is all about that the argument against democracy and the real meaning of the democracy in a nation. Do your homework, listen the video properly and make the notes by your own, whatever is discussed in the videos. God bless. Thank you.